Hello, brothers and sisters. It's Charlene again, and today I would like to share with you guys one of the many teaching materials I have used over the years, the last 10 years, from Canaan Ministries in South Africa, that's helped me healing my wounded heart and my family in leading of the Holy Spirit. And one of the books I would like to share with you guys is called Illegitimacy, an Assault on the Blessing of Sonship. It's the Healing of Wounded Hearts, Part 4, and you can get it on Canaan Ministries website. Amanda Bass is the lady that has written these. So I would like to just share with you guys my own experiences and some of the key points that I've found in this book very interesting. Okay, so the introduction to this is a genuine problem that exists even today. The curse of illegitimacy affects the ability of believers to build a close fellowship with Yah, with the Father, and with other believers. In doing so, the curse targets the free flowing of the spirit of adoption noted in the New Testament, that spirit which enables believers to cry out, Abba, Father. Satan's purpose is to prevent or destroy the intimacy of a father with his children, preventing them from having a close and personal daddy relationship. Now, this is very interesting. I have lived and experienced this in my life. I was quite a rebellious teenager after I got raped at the age of 14. I went through a very rebellious stage in my life where I rebelled against all authority, and I got into a lot of promiscuous relationships, and I had a lot of problems with my parents, and alcohol. Drugs wasn't really on the scene at that stage of where we used to live in South Africa anyway, and I'm sure if it was available, I would have used that as well. But I really went into some dark situations in my life, and I left home. I ran away from home at the age of 14, and I also got back. My parents found me, and I went back home. But I was kind of forever fighting authorities. Eventually, I decided to go to another town, live with my aunt, and work in a restaurant to earn money because I was going to go study to become a travel consultant. And I then met my ex-husband. I was married very young. After being together for a very short time, I fell pregnant with my first child. It's my daughter, she's 22. And I was about 5 months pregnant. We were engaged at that time, and I wasn't speaking to my parents at that time. I kind of disowned them because that was just how immature and stupid I was at that stage of my life. And thank you so much that my mother and father never stopped praying for me. Anyway, so eventually I phoned my parents and told them I'm pregnant, and that actually brought reconciliation to our whole relationship. We've moved back to my kind of hometown where my parents were living, and I got married. We got married, and I was 5 months pregnant. I just started showing I was pregnant, and my marriage didn't last long because it was quite abusive. And I also think I had a lot to do with it. I used to kind of provoke him to anger, and not knowing, because I would just not submit under his authority because he was so mean. But looking back in hindsight, I must say that he was trying the best he could, and knowing what kind of spirits was infiltrating in my life through all the doors I've opened in my life. No wonder. I don't blame him, to be honest, now that I look back. So I truly forgiven what he's done to me. But when our child was about 1 year and 4 months old, my brother died and of cancer, which was a curse resulted from a Freemason curse of what my dad belonged to. One of my other videos talks about that. And anyway, so I kind of came to a realization that I'm not going to live my life anymore with this much pain and a husband that drinks too much and all the abuse that I have experienced. So when the one day I decided that's it, he came late. He was supposed to be back early in the morning, and I decided, okay, I'm going to take my daughter and go, because he didn't come home the time he said he was coming home, and there was rumors already going around that he was using drugs and all that stuff. So I left and went to my parents' house, home. At that stage, my mother and father took me in, and I then started the process of divorcing my ex-husband. And then for about 4 years, I was a single mother, and I had sole custody of my child, my eldest daughter. And I just loved her to bits, and I was really just making sure that she was happy, and kind of spoiled her in ways because I felt guilty of things. Eventually, in one stage of my life, I prayed and asked my Heavenly Father to please send me a husband that will accept me and my daughter, and He sent my wonderful husband I have today. And I'm just so grateful for the mercy that He showed me, and the struggles I had to go through to overcome all the things that happened in my life. And I'm not crying because I still have hurt about it. It's just my absolute awe of what a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. That He's taken me from the darkest holes and pulled me out and made me who I am today, so I could testify to anyone out there. I was the most rebellious disgrace out there. It gave my parents a lot of trouble. It caused my dad probably to have many heart attacks, which I know was not me, but the spirits that used to control me. Huge Jezebel spirits, and there was enough family line and all that. And finally, He knew to give me the husband I have today that would love me, but also not allow me to sit on his head or control or manipulate him in any way. And today I'm grateful because I've learned to be content in whatever situation I am, and knowing that God is in control. As long as I submit to the authorities He's given to me, and to trust Him that nothing will ever happen to me unless He permits it. So He will use those authorities for me in my life to correct me, to chastise me, to love me, to whatever I need to be, as long as I fully trust Him. And that's been a very hard thing. And to this day, I still have struggles to sometimes not be... I still sometimes have these attacks on my mind by the enemy saying, oh, you're just being controlled by someone now. And you know what? I have actually overcome this in so many ways. But to come back to the whole videos about illegitimacy, I end up having my husband I met. We met 16 years ago, 2001, so that's 18 years ago. And I fell pregnant with another child with him. And we got married when she was 5 months pregnant. That was quite interesting. Both my children, I got married, my first two children, when I was 5 months pregnant. 5, the number of grace. Isn't it amazing? Anyway, the minute I fell pregnant with my second child, my life changed. My second daughter, she's 16 today. My life changed. I totally committed my life back to Him and never looked back. I've never looked back. I've just gone stronger and stronger. I have walked such a horrific road till I'm at today. In the trials and tribulations I had to endure just to become who I am today. And I thank and give Jesus Christ all the glory. Sorry, guys. But if I don't blow my nose, I won't be able to talk. Anyway, so I have lived the pain because of the legitimate children I bore. But I've repented and I've set those curses free. And today there's a living evidence where my eldest daughter have chose not to follow with us and have gone her own way. My firstborn from my second marriage has decided to stick with us, and she has gone through the same struggles as what my eldest daughter did because of those curses that was on her life. Although it was broken, it doesn't mean it's gone. It's a ever chasing from the enemy on my children, and ever fight that I have had battled on my knees and still do every single day. But he's given me so much hope, where he's shown me that the first fruits will be able to harvest those that do not see now. So I know a lot of you mothers that are fearful because your children is not seeing. Hold on, I'll be back. Sorry guys, I had to stop there because one of the little ones needed my help. All right, so any mother that's out there that are concerned because their children is still not believing or they're not going to go into the rapture, just understand one thing, that God's plan is perfect. You have to trust him fully. Just remember, if anyone gets given a silver plate without working for it, will never appreciate it. So what I'm basically saying is, all of you that have been growing in maturity in the body Messiah, know that you have gone through a lot of heartache and pain to be where you are today. And it wasn't for nothing. It was for a very specific purpose. It's what we will do for the end time harvest. When we will go out and reap those souls, we will be able to help them overcome their problems. And I know people don't understand maybe what I'm saying, but the Holy Spirit showed me that people's eyes are closed now, and until the fullness of the Gentiles have come in, or let me put it to you, until those that are the firstborn or the first fruits have come in, then the rest of the eyes will be open, and then they will see, and then we will be able to minister to them, and they will have a turn. I promise you, no one will be lost if you keep on praying. Keep on praying for them every single day, and he will be faithful. He will be faithful to our prayers. You know, Yahusha, he promises that his word does not return void. You keep on preaching and declare truth over your child, and stand in the gap and do spiritual warfare. I promise you, things will turn around, but not the way we think. It's in his time. Remember, to soften your flesh is good. It's good because it purifies you. And we have to suffer in our flesh. So I know it's sad, but we have to ask to give us his eyes to understand. And once you understand how he does things, you will completely be okay with it. Just trust him. I promise you, it's really fun. It's very hurtful when you see your child goes a different way, but just keep on praying. I didn't even get to the book, but maybe in part 2 I will mention. I'll talk more about that, and I just wanted to share that testimony, which is a real heartfelt reality in my life, and how I have overcome it is to totally trust Yah and totally just know that everything works out together for those who love Him. And we are predestinated us unto sonship through Jesus Christ to Himself according to the good pleasure of His will. So guys, I love you very much, and just keep on praying until we are called to our mission. Love you. Bye-bye.